Some of you might know the story of the guy who won a free ticket to the Super Bowl through a lottery at work. Now, this guy is so excited, he didn't care that it was about the worst seat in the stadium. He's way up in the upper corner, probably closer to the blimp than to the playing field. He was just glad to be there. Now, midway through the first quarter, he notices there's an empty seat right about at the 50-yard line. So he finds a way to slip into that seat, and he can't even believe it. And he asks the guy next to him, is anyone sitting here? And the man says, no. And he's so excited. He goes, I can't believe there's no one sitting there. He goes, whose ticket is this? The man goes, well, that ticket belongs to my wife. She died, and this is the first Super Bowl without her. The man said, oh, I'm so sorry, and he got quiet. But after a while, he said, I mean, surely there's somebody else you could have invited, a good friend, a relative. The man said, no, they're all at the funeral. Some of us take our sports pretty seriously, right? I mean, some people even pray that their team wins, or back in the day that the Patriots would lose. And I can hear the kind of prayers, this year. Oh God, please let Patrick Mahomes' ankle hold out till we get through this final drive, or whatever. Jesus, I don't think he cares too much about who wins. But there's something of Jesus I do see in this game, and it is the coaching style of Jesus. And I am pretty confident that coaching teams from both, from both teams really, coached in some similar ways to how Jesus coaches us today, perhaps even using some of the same words that Jesus says. Today Jesus coaches his disciples, and therefore he coaches us with these words. He says, you have heard it said this, but what I say to you is that. You've heard it said this, but I say that. It's one of his primary coaching styles. And all of these phenomenal athletes, I bet they've heard something very much like that as they made their way through high school, college, into the pro ranks. I know that you used to do it this way, or maybe these were your rules about, off-field behavior or training and discipline, but here's how we do it here. Or even in terms of, schemas, right? Game planning. You've heard it that in the I formation, the halfback's going to line up on the outside shoulder of the right guard. But I say, here's what we do here. I mean, whatever. Thousands of things like that, because the coach sees a bigger picture and a bigger plan. And if the coach is good, right, these players are going to succeed both individually and collectively if they let themselves be coached. So us and our coach, Jesus, who says to us, you've heard this, but what I say to you is that. Now, Jesus was always doing that. He'd meet people right where they are, love them there, and then invite them deeper. Oh, you've heard it said that you shall not kill, and you haven't killed anybody. Good. But what I say to you is, you're walking around with so much anger, you're killing your soul. That grudge you carry, it's keeping you from being alive. I mean, again and again, Jesus does that. He'll meet us right where we are and then invite us deeper. It's not that we're to make ourselves lovable to him. He already loves us. It's just that he wants us to know a joy-filled life, a meaningful life, a good life, not just at the end of our lives, but even now. What a coach we have in Jesus. I trust my life to this coach. I do. Let's end with a word to our children and about our children and our responsibilities to them, because our kids are all the time hearing this on messages that don't give them life. And to look at that, I've asked for a volunteer, and Lola said she would help us. Lola, you mind to come on up? Now, let me pretend like I know Lola's future. That one day, Lola would be a tremendous soccer player. And she would be so great, she would be on the national team. And everybody wants her in their commercials because she's so awesome. And when she's in their commercials, she starts getting lots of money. And with all that money, well, she starts to kind of live a fancy life. She gets the fancy clothes on. What do you think of this? And then, oh my gosh, she's just so popular. Everybody wants her autograph. And everybody wants to get their picture taken with her. Let's smile. Let's get a selfie. Oop. The priest doesn't do that right, does he? Yay. And people would say, isn't she great? And Jesus would say, yes, she is. But not because of any of this stuff. Because suppose Lola made it to the World Cup, but right beforehand got injured and couldn't play. Lola, could I have the soccer ball back? And then she was injured so bad that she never quite got her best form back. And they didn't want her on the team. And then guess what? Nobody wanted Lola in their commercials anymore. Now, Lola just doesn't have the money to live all the fancy life. And you know, people are kind of no longer particularly excited to be around her. And she's just not so popular now, right? And this could be true also. Suppose someday Lola got sick or old and she couldn't even take care of herself. And she needed people to help feed her. And people would say, she doesn't matter, she's nothing. But Jesus knows better. Jesus would say, Lola, you are great because you are loved. You're my child. I love you, and you can love this world, and that power is in you always. Oh, the world will say this, but Jesus says that. Lord, thank you so much. Maybe you'll watch a bit of the game tomorrow. If so, you might want to notice the coaches and think about how often they said something that way. Yeah, you've heard this, but here's what we tell you. Here's what I expect. Or maybe you'll be particularly drawn to the commercials. Nothing against them, but look at them with a skeptical eye a bit and what they seem to promise. That if you want to be happy, you need this product. If you want to have value, you have to look that way. And you're totally missing out without this vacation, this car, this whatever. Yes, often we hear this. But what Jesus would say is, yeah, but I tell you this. You give your life in love. And then you will know joy. I trust my coach on this with everything in my heart.